We begin this broadcast with some developing story coming in from West Asia, and we do understand that the Israeli army has claimed that it has killed Hassan Nasrallah, the leader of Hezbollah, in a massive air attack on Lebanon's Beirut on Friday evening. There has been no comment from the Lebanese group. Multiple air raids have targeted residential apartment buildings in attacks that is described as unprecedented, with children reported among those killed. More than 700 people are killed across Lebanon since Israel intensified a bombing campaign on Monday. But even now, several hours later, there has been no word from the group on the fate of their chief, Hassan Nasrallah. Sources close to Hezbollah say contact with Nasrallah was lost since Friday night. But now the IDF has claimed that he will no longer be able to terrorize the world. And this is what they tweeted on their X page earlier today. The IDF has also said it killed other Hezbollah commanders, including Ali Karaki, Hezbollah's commander of the Southern Front. Military spokesperson Lieutenant Colonel Nadav Shoshani has announced on social media platform X that Hassan Nasrallah is dead. Military spokesperson Captain David Abraham has also claimed that the Hezbollah chief had been eliminated in the Friday strikes on the Lebanese capital soon after Israel's statement. All right, let's talk about this developing story from West Asia. Dr. Zore Karazmi is an assistant professor in the Department of American Studies at the University of Tehran. Thank you for joining us at this hour. Why did it take so long for the IDF to announce Nasrallah's killing?
Thank you for inviting me. Actually, I think that the atrocities of Israelis is not something that anybody can deny these days, and particularly last night at an 8-story flat and actually buildings were leveled in Zahia in the south of Beirut. But this is not the first time that Israeli sources try to give this sort of news about different commanders, or the Sayyid Hassan Nasrallah as already in the 33 war, the day war. We have the same story. It is probable, of course, because Sayyid Hassan always was just living and actually staying with the resistance in Beirut and Lebanon. And martyrdom was the thing that he aspired for many years. And so, but still, I think that because Israelis are telling lots of lies during the war, we shall wait for the official statement by the resistance to see it happened or not.
Dr. Zore, I like that you mentioned that last point there, because there has been no confirmation from Hezbollah on the alleged killing of its leader, Hassan Nasrallah. How do you think they will respond? Because there are some critics who say there is worry among Hezbollah members of the fate of their group leader.
Actually, I think that if Sayyid Hassan was in the buildings that destroyed under the brutal actually bombardment of Israelis, so it takes time to be sure, because just discovery under this destroyed buildings is not easy. But about being worried, it's not the first time that Hezbollah is missing commanders, even the chief ones. We remember Sayyid Abbas Musavi, that many years ago was again bombarded, and actually with his wife and a little child, he was actually assassinated. So it's not the first time that Israelis with that sort of atrocities are targeting the leaders of Hezbollah. And Hezbollah has been grown and actually become mature during these years with all these obstacles, including the assassination of leaders. So replacing people, the new generations of Hezbollah also already, and replacing people as commanders is something that they already have formulations for. So however, the situation, the escalation, and actually atrocities of it.
That is Dr. Zore. We'll get back to her in a moment. We seem to have lost her. And according to the Israeli army, they also tweeted a message saying that the Israeli army's chief of staff did say that it has not emptied its toolbox with its claimed killing of Nasrallah. And I'll just read part of the statement from the chief of the general staff, Hassan Nasrallah, who said, "This is not the end of our toolbox. The message is simple. Anyone who threatens the citizens of Israel, we will know how to reach them." Dr. Zore is back. We had lost you for a moment there, Dr. Zore. Thank you for coming back. Let's continue this conversation because according to a statement that I'm reading here from the chief of the general staff, Hassan Nasrallah, he says that this is not the end of our toolbox. The message is simple. Anyone who threatens the citizens of Israel, we will know how to reach them. What do you read from this message? How can you interpret this message?
Actually, Israelis are not citizens. Even those who are called citizens are armed by teeth, and they are the people who are coming from different countries, throughout more than a half a century to Palestinian land. They are occupiers, they are settlement colonizers. So first of all, we should be really careful about using terms, and Israelis have no legitimacy these days. You know that even in West they are criticized, in East they are criticized. I think all the nations now see the reality of Israel. And the other issue is that the resistance is something that comes from the grassroots, and it has backbone in the nations in the region, in Yemen, in Iraq, in Iran, in Lebanon. So it's not something that they are fearing or being intimidated by the threats of Israelis. And as Said Hassan said, I think that the resistance front, Said Hassan being alive or not, the resistance is determined, not letting Israel occupiers to come back to the northern parts. And also, I think the resistance front is firm to stand till the time that the Gaza also is being and reaching a sort of ceasefire. So this sort of intimidating remarks is not really working, as everybody here in the region is very angry and annoyed about the endless atrocities of Israelis that is very much US-backed and Western-backed ones.
Doctor, stay with me because I want us to pause for a little while and listen to what Halevi had to say earlier today, and also discuss this sort of escalation, because no war has been declared in the region, but we are looking at a looming war in the region. What are the consequences of that? But let's first listen to Halevi.
It must be very clear. There are more tools, and the message is simple. Anyone who threatens the citizens of Israel, we will know how to reach them in the north, in the south, and also in places more distant.
Doctor, there are those who say that after the killing, and I put that in quotes because it has not been confirmed from the Hezbollah side, after the killing of Nasrallah, probably bombardment in Lebanon will decrease or end. Do you think it will do that, or Israel will do that?
What sort of terminology is message that likes to, as I said, intimidate others, that it's not the reality, because Israelis are very, very badly trapped in Gaza. Gaza was very, a dot in the map that with all sorts of ammunition and actually guns and weapons Israelis get from the American side, they were not successful to get it. And then when they're talking about the sort of brave voice, it's really ridiculous for us, because Israel is not in the position to do so. More than $40 billion is actually already has lost by Israelis for this war. Americans are tired of this Netanyahu's adventures. Resistance is firm to stand against Israel this time. So talking about a full-fledged war is not really intimidating us, particularly due to the fact that Israelis have always this miscalculation about the resistance. Resistance is something very grassroots. Lots of youth in the region are prepared to join brothers and sisters in Gaza, in Lebanon. So if Israel is not really intelligent enough to finish it right now, would pay really badly for that. So I don't think this sort of messages is really working.
All right, I've been talking to Dr. Zoreh Karazmi. She is an assistant professor in the Department of American Studies at the University of Tehran. Doctor, thank you for all your insights and for talking to us today.
Thank you so much.
Let's move on now. The Beirut attack comes at the culmination of a week that has raised the prospects of a ground operation against Hezbollah amid widespread concerns of an all-out regional war. Diplomatic efforts to pacify tensions have continued. At a United Nations Security Council meeting, United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres said a regional war must be avoided at all costs, as he appealed yet again for an immediate ceasefire. Guterres reiterated the warning that the war in Lebanon could lead to further escalation involving outside powers. Hours earlier, the United Nations General Assembly in New York, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu vowed to keep fighting Hezbollah until the country's border with Lebanon was secured. He said Israel has every right to remove this threat and return its citizens to their homes safely. Netanyahu also the war in Gaza, saying that the Israeli army will continue to fight Hamas until it achieves total victory. As Israel continued to fight Iran-backed militant groups on all fronts, the Prime Minister took aim at Tehran in its United Nations General Assembly address as well.
I have a message for the tyrants of Tehran. If you strike us, we will strike you. There is no place in Iran that the long arm of Israel cannot reach, and that's true of the entire Middle East.
Following the Beirut strikes, Iran's embassy in Lebanon said this reprehensible crime represents a dangerous escalation that changes the rules of the game. Iran's President Masoud Pezeshkian later condemned the strikes, branding them a flagrant war crime. For all the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.